I'm Greg Amsinger, and welcome to CSTV's Retrovision. Despite the high price of fuel, we've decided to provide you with some high-octane action. No extra charge. I'm talking about UNLV in Arkansas from 1989. You know, things were looking awfully good for the Runnin' Rebels heading into the 89-90 season. In addition to returning the nation's Defensive Player of the Year, Stacey Augmon, as well as the talented backcourt of Greg Anthony and Anderson Hunt, UNLV had just landed back-to-back Junior College Player of the Year, Larry Johnson. Johnson looked like the card the Rebels needed to be dealt to bring an NCAA title to Las Vegas. Standing in their way on this day are the 8-1 Razorbacks, a team whose roster had 4 aces. Oliver Miller and Mario Credit provided some major size down low and are a perfect complement to perhaps the best backcourt in the country in Lee Mayberry and Todd Day. With speed, athleticism, and the ability to shoot lights out, this talented sophomore duo puts Arkansas amidst the title contenders. At the conclusion of the John Hancock Sun Bowl, CBS joins UNLV and Arkansas in progress with just under 5 minutes gone by in the first half. The score is tied at 11, so let's get you out to the Thomas & Mack Center. It's Rebels, Razorbacks, and Retrovision on CSTV.
Welcome to the Thomas & Mack Center on the campus of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas for today's college basketball matchup between the 11th-ranked Razorbacks of Arkansas and the 12th-ranked Runnin' Rebels of UNLV. We've got a tie ball game at 11 apiece, 14:56 remaining in the first half. James Brown along with Billy Packer and Pat O'Brien. And Billy, you've been commenting all throughout the early action here that these are 2 tournament teams without a doubt.
James, I think at this early in the season, and we talked about early on the fact that Vegas is making an adjustment, having with David Butler coming back into the lineup, but they practice hard. They've been together now about 10 days with this particular lineup, and they are really coming on strong. In regard to Arkansas, this is a club blessed with a lot of outstanding young players. They shoot extremely well. They're handling the ball well. They're tough to press because of Mayberry, and without question, these 2 teams are going to be in the major part of the hunt for this year's college basketball championship.
The action has been fast-paced as you take a look at Lee Mayberry at the free throw line for the Razorbacks. Ron Hury, number 31, into the ball game for the Razorbacks, having replaced Oliver Miller, number 25, the 6'9 center, who picked up his 2nd personal foul. And it's going to be important that the Razorbacks do the job inside against a very powerful front line of the Runnin' Rebels.
That's a big loss with Miller out of there because his bulk took up so much room. It made it tough for Larry Johnson inside. Expect Johnson to touch the ball a little more now.
Rebound, David Butler, the center. And he's fouled by Todd Day. Let me set the lineup for you for the Runnin' Rebels. David Butler, number 00 at center, flanked by Larry Johnson and Stacey Augmon. Anderson Hunt and Greg Anthony are at the guards. Jerry Tarkanian, in his 17th year here at UNLV, has a squad that struggled through the first 6 games, and that was principally because of 2 key players being out.
Well, David Butler is one of the premier centers in the United States. He, of course, was not eligible to play for the last 2 ball games. And so now Jerry goes from having weakness in the center position to having an outstanding player there, allows everybody to shift over to their natural position, particularly Stacey Augmon and Larry Johnson, so they become a much more potent team.
Lee Mayberry, Todd Day, the backcourt for Arkansas, Mario Credit, Ron Hury, and Lindsey Howell for the Razorbacks. Rebounded by Larry Johnson.
One of the few guys that can rebound it with a good outlet pass or dribble it down court. Really a flexible ball player.
Lindsey Howell steals that one. He's been doing a great job of alertness, being alert as Lee Mayberry called for walking, and he was a little concerned that Anderson Hunt didn't give him the 1 step.
Well, he doesn't have to because he's got the ball in his hand as a dribbler, but that will be charged as a turnover to Mayberry, but really it was a turnover by Lindsey Howell for throwing him the ball in the first place. Howell should have anticipated the defender coming up there, and he acknowledged that by patting his chest and looking at Mayberry. See how they really miss Miller inside. They miss his ball.
And Larry Johnson gets the tip in as David Butler and Larry Johnson played volleyball. And again, as you mentioned, Billy, with Oliver Miller at 6'9", 270 out of there, that hurts. Hury with
left
the shot.
hand. Out last year because of some personal difficulties. Coming back slowly now, but he'll be a factor for this club. Very talented kid. You can see Johnson just taking over inside now.
And Larry Johnson at 6'7", 250 pounds, a man amongst boys, doing it on the inside.
Well, here's what Nolan Richardson was really worried about, trying to pack things in to stop Johnson. You can see without Miller's bulk in there, Johnson just goes right inside. It's unusual to have fellas of this power, and you think of probably the #1 guy like this would be a guy like Charles Barkley, that have great power and bulk, but then also have soft hands and touch. Johnson possesses that inside and is tough to handle there.
Johnson doesn't get the roll as Travis Bice and Barry Young, guard and a forward combination, checking in for the running Rebels.
Good move by Hury, coming off of that bench and becoming an offensive factor right away.
And Hury draws the foul from Barry Young. His first personal foul, 15 foul.
Credit's going to sit down, James, and Marks coming in for Credit makes Arkansas even smaller. You might see them try to press a lot more with this lineup in there because they're not going to be able to take it down inside.
Arkansas's hands were going to be full anyway with Larry Johnson. In the middle is going to be a little tougher now. Mayberry awfully quick and lethal.
Not only quick, but he's being guarded that time by Greg Anthony, who's one of the best one-on-one defenders against the dribble in the country, and he's still beating.
Johnson blocked by Ron Hury. They're going to say he got a piece of his hand, but the key is that UNLV continuing to go inside and take advantage of the bigger and stronger Larry Johnson.
Well, Nolan Richardson likes to play the 1-1-3 zone, which shifts down into a 2-3 type zone. He may really have to pack this thing in back inside the foul line now, but it's very obvious that UNLV is going down low to Johnson. Gets his running mate Scurry into the ball game with him now, another guy that loves to go to the offensive boards.
As Johnson nails the first of his free throw attempts. As Billy mentioned, Moses Scurry into the ball game, replacing David Butler, who still has yet to get in good shape. Only his third game back after sitting out the first 6 games due to academic difficulties. UNLV on top by 3, 19-16, 12:42 remaining in the first half.
Hard-nosed man-to-man defense, which is a trademark from UNLV, although they will go to some crazy zones every once in a while, as they did against Long Beach State, but they are a great man-to-man team.
Very good pass inside to Marks, tapped in by Todd Day, who at 6'7.5" is the off guard, but has a good 5-inch height advantage over Travis Bice.
Bice sat out yesterday's practice, suffering from the flu a little bit, but he's a great shooter, as we saw in the Iowa game.
Good pass by Larry Johnson, off the mark by Scurry, rebounded by Larry Marks.
Notice very little double teaming by UNLV. There's a walk, clearly. They're afraid of the great outside shooting, particularly by Day and Mayberry, that they're not double teaming as much today as they normally do.
And there's a timeout in the action. UNLV on top by 1.
Aside from the leadership of the 6'9" senior Joey Dorsey and the 6'7" junior Chris Douglas Roberts, there's also some big things to be said about a relatively little part of this Tiger team, senior guard Andre Allen. As an 8th grader growing up in the projects of Memphis, Tennessee, Andre was already pegged as a future college star.
He was getting letters from so many schools. It was so many. Every week, my mailbox would be full of letters.
But as the interest for Andre increased, his 5'10" stature didn't.
Everyone grew except me, and so my stock dropped. People looked at me like, oh, he's not growing, he's not going to be as good. Regardless of what they say or what anybody say, I knew down in my heart like what I got to do to make it to the next level.
In the eyes of his critics, Andre may have been too small to play Division I basketball, but the size of his heart and the dedication it encouraged led him to a meeting with Coach Calipari in hometown Memphis.
I went and met with him, and he talked to me. He was like, once you start playing and once you show us that you deserve a scholarship, we'll put you on scholarship. So I decided to come to Memphis and walk on.
Coming off the bench his sophomore and junior seasons, Andre has brought much more to the Tigers than indicated by statistics.
His athleticism, his speed, his quickness, and his arrogance, his swagger just radiates through the team.
He's the motor on this team, always been the heart, the toughest player we had, For him to be so small, man, he does big things. He's probably like the biggest piece of our puzzle.
Well, my role is what people see. I'm a game changer. I come in and change the game. If the game going good or bad, I come in and just make the game regular, make it an up and down game.
He's like our second coach on the floor. Sometimes we get in hugs and Coach Cal will say, Andre, what do we do?
He gonna ask me what you think will work, and I tell him. And he be like, oh yeah, that's good. We'll go with that.
He just knows everybody's position on the team. He knows, visualize where guys are gonna be, and that's a hard thing to do with this offense, and Andre does that pretty well.
His mind for the game, his feel for the game, his vision to play the play out, he is far beyond his vision of what this offense is supposed to do, how to create shots for his teammates. He can go right into it and know how we do it.
I'm still doing the same thing I was doing in high school, middle school. It's still the same. I'm just waiting to win my national title on the college level.
If you think the level of competition is impressive, wait till you see the level of coverage. High school meets high impact with MaxPreps.com. Find out how your local teams compare. Who's in the hunt to be state champs? Get pumped on your high school teams. Log on to MaxPreps.com.
Well, Larry Johnson is so difficult to handle. Now they have him playing on the outside. It was interesting yesterday in practice, watching Tark talk to Johnson, say, I want you to just handle the ball and shoot. He's a very unselfish player. You see today, he's very offensive-minded, which is what Tarkanian tried to get him to do yesterday. Tark wants the basket.
Larry Johnson is going to pick up the personal foul.
See, we saw him post up low earlier. Now he takes the ball from the top of the key where he's capable of shooting that far out as well. Good move by Arkansas to draw the charge.
As Johnson picks up his second personal foul, he's got 6 points and 7 rebounds. This in the early going, 11:35 remaining in the first half. It's Todd Day using that height advantage at 6'7.5". He's got 6 points.
Goes right over Bice.
Good pass by Anthony. Scurry misses.
Day doing a good job aggressively going in for defense as well. Last year he was just primarily a shooter. This year he's playing both ends of the floor well.
Lindsey Howell showing good quickness from the wing, but misses the shot.
Murray took the chance to pick that off. Not a smart move. He really had the numbers going against him, and he should have gone back on defense to give a little balance.
4 points for Greg Anthony. A 1-point Rebel lead. Todd Day.
So nice.
Only a sophomore. Now Mayberry gets more ink, but Day, when he's on, he's absolutely awesome.
Had a great Olympic Festival summer. He's rapidly becoming one of the best ball players, not only in the Southwestern Conference, but in the country.
Johnson. Moses Scurry will be whistled for the foul coming over the back.
That's Lindsey Howell doing a great job blocking out. We're going to see Day here moving both with the dribble as well as that great standstill jumper he's got. Leans in there well, and as I said, he's now pushing 6'8", and to handle the ball from that distance makes him tough to guard.
Platoon substitution on a part of the Rebels. David Butler, Stacey Augmon, and James Jones into the contest.
And Jones, of course, filled in for David Butler at that center position, which was quite a drop-off for UNLV, but now it gives Johnson an opportunity to go out and make Tark's bench a little bit deeper, which he'll need.
Take a look at Larry Johnson along with Travis Bice and Barry Young back on the bench for the Rebels. This is Lindsey Howell at the free throw line. And Billy, he's actually a center or power forward in the body of a small forward or big guard.
Knows how to go to the ball, goes to the boards extremely well, plays solid defense. Was not one of those giant recruits you read about, but certainly has filled the role at Arkansas. Played Jason Ball with both David Butler and Moses Scurry, so he's got two former teammates out there on the floor against him right now.
Stands 6'5", weighs 205. Lindsey Howell with 6 points and 4 rebounds in the afternoon. And Arkansas with a 3-point lead.
And they go back to man-to-man. Really trying to help out inside. Uri didn't even have anybody. Good hands.
Todd Day tried to get a little fancy with the shot. Greg Anthony came up and knocked the ball loose, but picked up the foul in the process, his first personal.
You know, I think on that particular play, Day did the only thing that he could. He felt Anthony right to his left on the way on down the floor and had to kind of control that ball and use his body to keep it away. See, he realizes that he's got Greg coming from the other side, put the ball out so it'd be impossible for Greg to reach it, just couldn't get it back in time.
Stacey Augmon replaces Greg Anthony for the Rebels as Todd Day misses the first free throw.
Good shooter like that normally gets that roll coming back for him.
There's Augmon, only remaining player from the '87 squad that went to the Final Four for UNLV, as Todd Day gives Arkansas a 4-point lead with 10:07 remaining, the biggest lead of the game.
But they're really dropping everybody off inside, not guarding people on the perimeter, except the man with the ball. There's a wide. There's Augmon. They didn't even guard him out there.
Three-point shot by Augmon.
Now, James, you can gamble all you want, but if a guy can throw in an uncontested three, you got to get out of that defense.
And Day warms up. Leading scorer for the Razorbacks. He's got 12, averaging 19.5 on the season.
Bauer is now out on Augmon.
Stacey Augmon, an improved shooter. Most teams have been laying off and giving him the outside shot, but he's worked a lot on it in the offseason. He's got 4.
He has only made 2 3-pointers 2 years ago. Really improved last year in that area. Won the award, the IBO Award, as the #1 defensive player in the country last year.
And a blocking foul is going to be whistled on Stacey Augmon. Billy, you mentioned Arlen Bowers. He's a 5'10" junior guard for Arkansas. In for the Razorbacks is Bowers, Day, Lindsey Howell, Ron Huery, and Larry Marks.
You know, with Day's ability to make you play him so tight because he's a good shooter, and at his height, you've really got to get out there on him. He's the kind of guy that you can see as his career develops go to the foul line a lot because he's starting to put the ball on the floor, and he really gets you in a mismatch playing at the guard position.
A very young squad for Arkansas. As Day hits the first, Darryl Hawkins, a sophomore forward, comes in and gives Lindsey Howell a much-deserved rest.
Only shooting 62% of the year from the foul line when you know he's going to, the way he shoots the ball, he's going to do a lot better than that. But he just needs to go to the line more often. Here's the press.
14 points for Todd Day, leading all scorers. Big concern that Jerry Tarkanian had was, in fact, in the backcourt where Arkansas enjoys a decided advantage.
And they back in that zone, packing things in except on everybody other than Anderson Hunt. You got to be aware of his three-point range. Penetration.
Augmon. Rebounded by Day. Bowers.
Kept it alive. Good job by Marks.
And you get an indication of the quickness of the Razorbacks as Marks misses the mark, but follows and scores.
Great nose for the ball.
Fouled by James Jones. And again, that quickness on Arkansas goes to the bench, Billy.
Marks made 3 outstanding plays before finally coming up with the 2. He kept the ball alive by batting it out earlier, then got his own rebound, taking it back inside. Good play. Tark doesn't waste time getting Larry Johnson back in there.
Quickly. As James Jones goes back to the bench. James Jones had been the starting center for the first 6 games while David Butler was getting his books in order, but he's back on the bench now.
Well, most people, including myself, have projected UNLV to be the #1 team starting the season. We're talking about the team with Butler at the center position and not Jones, so quite a fall off there for Tark when he started the year.
Butler's been averaging 16 points since he's been back into the starting lineup, but he throws this one away. Turnover number 6 for UNLV as Oliver Howell is going to come back into the game, replacing Larry Marks. Now, keep in mind, Oliver Howell is saddled with 2 personal fouls. Make that Oliver Miller.
And Miller's coming back. I'm kind of surprised with the lead that Nolan Richardson's taking a chance, bringing him in, potentially picking up his 3rd foul here.
Huery.
Miller, a great passer for a big fella.
Arkansas with a 34-26 lead with 7:46 remaining in the first half.
You can see where that zone's going, deeper and deeper. Gonna make Anderson Hunt take the jumper.
Augmon. Billy, now while Augmon has worked on that outside shot, the one thing I notice is he's coming down before he's releasing that ball. And that certainly could be a problem with tall players on the inside who can get to that shot easy. Right now, the Razorbacks on top, 34-26.
Towering as large as an Arkansas mountain, his appearance was a contradiction of terms. With his thick horn-rimmed glasses. When the University of Arkansas gave him a chance to play, Brandon Burlsworth became an All-American. But what set Brandon apart were his heart and desire to help those who didn't have all the advantages he did. Tragically, he was killed in an automobile accident, but to keep his memory alive, his family established the Brandon Burlsworth Foundation, giving other young people a chance.
Our day starts very early. We never know exactly when we'll have a full house, so we have to be ready at all hours. We have regularly scheduled deployments that come through, but things rarely run on schedule, so we have a lot of surprises. We have birthdays, we have family reunions. We even had a wedding here once. But whatever they need, we'll do our very best to see they get it. If they need travel arrangements or use of a computer, if they need to change diapers or dry someone's tears, we can help. It's the very least we can do, considering what they do for us. If you want to make a difference in the life of someone serving our country, if you really want to make a difference, the USO is how it's done. Help us help them.
The USO depends on the generosity of the American people, people just like you. To find out how you can help, visit us at USO.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
There is a place where the search for cancer's cure happens to the sounds of John Coltrane. There is a place where a Nobel laureate teaches how to write from your heart, while some of the nation's leading scientists teach how to think with your head. Great art takes a measure of science. Great science takes a measure of art. A great university is built where they converge. UNLV.
.725 remaining. Arkansas on top.
Good backdoor cut by Mayberry.
And follows. And also give a credit to the big fella.
Well, it's
Oliver
nice.
Miller with the passing.
Right, it's nice to have a guy 6'10" can step outside like that and make a good play.
David Butler, good sense of where he was on the court with the overhead layup. He's got 7.
You know, if I were UNLV, I'd try to get Miller to pick up his 3rd foul. Go down inside, make him really work on defense, even if it's in the zone.
A 14-7 run by the Razorbacks, who started off cold, shooting only 30% in the opening minutes.
Picking up all the loose balls.
Mayberry. Miller on the follow, but Butler gets the rebound. Augmon. And Larry Johnson is going to be whistled for the push-off, and indeed he did, Billy, with that right arm of his. That's his 3rd personal foul, so he'll take a trip back to the bench.
Now here you go, coming down on a fast break. Stacey Augmon took that ball a little bit too far, and Bowers just kept backing up on him. If Stacey had stopped at the top of the foul line, he would have had Larry Johnson down inside for an easy power move. So one dribble too many cost him.
That would have been the better move.
It cost him big, because not only did they not get the basket, but as you see right there, Larry Johnson picked up his 3rd and probably going to have to sit down here with 6:32 to go in the half.
As James Jones replaces Larry Johnson, he leaves with 6 points and 8 rebounds, so a lot of rebounding power leaving for the Rebels. And speaking of rebounding, Nolan Richardson was most concerned about his squad's ability to keep the Rebels off the offensive glass, and right now, the Razorbacks are doing the job with 6 offensive rebounds and 10 second chance points.
Which is really unusual for them in a number of respects. One, UNLV has got superior size inside, particularly the lineup that was on the floor. And number 2, even on the year, and although Arkansas is having a great year, they're being out-rebounded by their opponents 1 per game.
Todd Day comes back into the contest, replacing Darryl Hawkins. Full court press by the Razorbacks. Something that the Razorbacks had not displayed through the first 9 games with any degree of frequency. Jones. Rebounded by Butler. Stolen by Mayberry.
Good outlet pass.
And Hay gets hammered, but no foul twice. Butler to Hunt.
Nice job by David Butler to pick up that dribble, get it to a ball handler. Day really got clobbered on the other end of the floor.
An 8-point Razorback lead, and the crowd comes alive here in the Shark Tank.
Straight up. Boy, he's got nice body control.
8 points for Howell. Hunt. Three-pointer.
Anderson Hunt was only 5 for 20 in the last 3 games and really suffered after that injury he had to his right hand in the Oklahoma game. He's starting to come back now, and you can see he's got a great touch from the outside.
Cianovich rebounds. This is Hunt.
Oh, he takes it. Give Cianovich a lot of credit on that break with a great outlet pass. Really fired the bullet. I think Arkansas, foul. They got to be thinking timeout here to slow down this run. Going to put Mario Jury back into the game, but Vegas getting a nice run here. Time to take the crowd out of this one.
Third personal foul on Oliver Miller. Moses Scurry back into the lineup for the Rebs. Setting lineup, Stacey Augmon, Moses Scurry, Anderson Hunt, Greg Anthony, and James Jones.
There's that 1-1-3 defense again. Played a little different than they used to with Keith Wilson, who was so good covering the corners.
Hunt off the mark. But Anthony follows and scores.
Foul on Mario Credit. So Miller and Credit now both with 3. Arkansas in some trouble, and there's going to be the timeout. You see the good drive inside by Greg Anthony. Uses that body to shield the defender, puts it up with the left hand.
Timeout, Arkansas.
We love college hockey. On CSTV television. Something romantic about the camaraderie. All the different arenas. The rinks. And guys with their sticks. I got a stick. With a man in uniform and dark emerald. Oh, I want some high sticking, hat tricking, puck picking, body checking, board wrecking, college hockey on CSTV.
Watch Northern Michigan at Ferris State. Tonight at 8, only on CSTV.
I'm Stacey. And I'm Tracy. I have my own personal college sports channel. And I have my own college sports channel. We're twins, but we're total opposites. My channel has gymnastics. And my channel has rugby. Well, my channel has hockey, yeah? And mine has rodeo. We never agree on what to watch. And now we don't have to.
Be the head of your own college sports channel. Put all your teams on all your screens. Find out how at cstv.com/mychannel.
Welcome back to CSTV's Retrovision, where the Shark Tank is rocking. Thanks to a burst by Anderson Hunt, UNLV is showing exactly why they're nicknamed the Runnin' Rebels. Arkansas's lead has been cut to 2, with just under 3:30 to play in the first half.
Now, what's happening to Arkansas, in my opinion, right now, they're putting the ball up a little bit too quickly. Now, they're averaging over 105 a game, so obviously they like to run and go. But right now, with Fury in the ball game, Mayberry, Howell, and Day, They've got a very good shooting ball club on the floor. They just need to get a little better shot. Not a real good rebounding team, but a very good shooting team. Sitting over there with credit, and Oliver Miller on the bench with 3 fouls, so they need to take a little more time off the clock.
9th point for Lindsey Howell. As a matter of fact, Nolan Richardson mentioned that his squad typically only passes the ball 2 to 3 times before shooting, but today he wanted possession to be the name of the game, to pass the ball around a bit more and make UNLV work on defense.
Southwest Conference MVP last year in their tournament was really torrid down the stretch, right on in through the NCAA tournament.
A 4-point Arkansas lead. Scurry. Rebounded by Hury.
Shows good ball handling skills.
Arkansas has not found the range on his last 8 field goal attempts, hitting only 2. A loner pass from Todd Day.
Day thought he had the mismatch because he was lined up with Scurry. He just tried to get a little bit too cute. Now you can see what's happening. They're moving and spreading things out to get this game nice and wide, to take advantage of the ball handling skills that they have. Nobody in the post.
And Barry Young, running through Todd Day, picks up his 2nd personal foul. That's what Richardson wanted, right, Billy, in terms of more patience on the offensive end.
A great move by Nolan Richardson. Spread things out. Don't worry about a low post play at all. He wants everybody spread out because he sees he has a big advantage with ball handlers on the floor right now and perimeter scores. Be tough for UNLV to defend this team.
You mentioned how Todd Day grew 1.5 inches from last season. As a matter of fact, in conversations with the doctors, Nolan Richardson feels that Todd Day will probably grow to about 6'9", maybe even 6'10".
Another one of those outstanding players out of the city of Memphis. I was talking to Coach Richardson about that yesterday. There must be 20 to 25 kids from that town playing Division I ball right now and playing it extremely well.
16 first-half points for Todd Day. Butler hammered by Lindsey Howell. His 2nd personal foul. Butler and Howell played together at San Jacinto Junior College.
Butler and Hury now getting into a little bit of verbal discussion. Todd Hury came over from the weak side to bat that one away. No goaltend whatsoever. A good block.
Travis Bice in replacing Barry Young. And Stacey Augmon into the contest replacing Anderson Hunt. Travis Bice actually watched practice yesterday from the stands, suffering with the flu virus, as Lindsey Howell takes a seat and Arlen Bowers comes in to replace him. And the wholesale substitutions continues as James Jones comes in to replace Moses Scurry. Now, with the pace of the game, who do you think the advantage would favor in terms of bench strength and the pace?
Well, I think the pace of the game right now, with Arkansas in the lead, they can afford to use that clock a little bit, James, and also with their great ball handling they have on the floor, it should be a little bit to their advantage. Now, Butler, however, at 6'10", can come out and play a guy outside probably as well as any man his size around.
9 points for David Butler.
There should be some mismatches here. Let's see who Stacey Augmon picks up. He's taking Todd Day, so that's an excellent matchup there for Vegas.
Mayberry, excellent one-on-one player.
He sure is. If you don't double team him, just so good with the ball.
He's got 9.
Bowers moving those feet pretty well, too.
Pushing foul, call on Todd Day.
Stacey
and Augmon going at it. So tempers are starting to get a little warm here.
Well, I think Arkansas is getting the better of this deal in this respect, James. They're taking the ball to Vegas a great deal. And I think Vegas is kind of surprised that Arkansas is playing this tough. They knew they were a good ball club, but Arkansas is showing them more than they really anticipated. I think
respect is going to have to come. Arkansas was hoping that this would be their coming out game before America. A lot of the basketball purists certainly know about Arkansas. So we take a look at Ernie Murray coming in to replace Todd Day, who's got 2 personal fouls. Nolan Richardson not wanting to see Day pick up his 3rd.
Stacey never has been a real good free throw shooter.
as Mayberry walks it up the court.
Now Tark is picking up his defense straight man-to-man, picking it up much higher because he realized Nolan Richardson was going to try to spread it out. It really hurts Nolan now not to have Day in the game.
Fury.
Nice play.
You notice when each of the Arkansas players get the ball, they face up to the opponent in a triple threat position, but that time Mayberry turned the ball over, 5 turnovers for Arkansas.
And Mayberry just so anxious to try to take David Butler, but as I said, David can move those feet pretty well for a big man. Felt he had the mismatch, cost him the walk.
1:30 remaining in the first half. Razorbacks on top by 6. Jones. Rebounded by Augmon and the follow. 6 points for Stacey.
Well, there's only 2 players in college basketball played on our Olympic team. Stacey, one of them, Bimbo Cole's the other, and he showed you why he was Olympian right there.
Hawkins, the man whom they say was the most improved in preseason practice for Arkansas. He's got 4.
That's a huge basket for Arkansas because they needed somebody other than Mayberry to come up with one.
Under a minute to play in the first half. Butler.
No size out there. They went right over the top with Miller and credit out. Arkansas extremely small right now.
11 points for the man from Washington, D.C., David Butler.
They're going to have to put it up, but there's 4-second differential here. I think Arkansas would be smart, take it right down to the wire.
3 seconds difference between the game clock and the shot clock.
They've got the lead. Might as well hang right onto that ball.
Shot clock to the left. Game clock on the right.
Take it right down to 8 seconds. Get the ball in Fury's hands. Mayberry wouldn't be bad either.
Good move by Mayberry. Rebels, one last shot attempt by Anthony. And that's the end of the first half. So Arkansas earning its respect, leading by 4. That's the end of the first half with the score Arkansas 48, UNLV 44.
I'd say Coach Tarkanian is probably pretty pleased to be trailing by only 4 points despite his star Larry Johnson being in foul trouble most of the first half. As good a player as Johnson was, basketball was not the first sport he played. He began his athletic career as a boxer in the Police Athletic League of South Dallas, a program designed to keep youngsters out of trouble through sports. Johnson was undefeated until the 8th grade when, because of his size, he was fighting 20-year-olds in the same weight class. He switched to football next and was second-team All-State at quarterback before he outgrew his offensive line. He found his niche on the basketball court, where he quickly gained consideration as the nation's #1 high school player. In his 2 years at UNLV, he averaged over 21 points and 11 rebounds per game and was the consensus National Player of the Year as a senior. He was selected with the first overall pick in the 1991 NBA draft by the Charlotte Hornets and continued his dominant play in the NBA until a nagging back injury slowed and eventually cut short his career. The second half is just around the corner on CSTV's Retrovision.
Everyone has friends. There's online friends. Friends to go out with on a Saturday night. Friends to hang out with and do nothing. Friends who show up on moving day. And then there are the friends who'll be there if someone is dealing with a mental illness. Are you one of those friends?
Why do you go to fanstore.com?
Because Dad needs a new Gator Golf Club cover.
We want bigger umbrellas for those Miami Hurricanes.
My son's getting his very first Yankees hat.
My wife would go wild for a Kentucky watch.
Get your butt in gear. Go to fanstore.com now and get free shipping on all orders over $75. Just enter the code MyCSTV, all lowercase, to receive this exclusive offer. Fanstore.com, the first place to shop for every team you love.
The beat is back. 3-ball, corner pocket. Another one. Slotted out of there. The finish is good. College basketball brought to life. Don't miss a single beat. NCAA men's basketball. Possession. CSTV.
Welcome back to CSTV's Retro Vision. The second half is just underway and we're tied at 48. Arkansas's Todd Day landed awkwardly and has left the game. And it feels as though the momentum is starting to shift the Rebels' way.
Arkansas gets the ball back after David Butler deflected it. Good defense by Stacey Augmon, his specialty. And David Butler is going to be whistled for the foul, tripping up Lee Mayberry. Stacey Augmon, of course, was the defensive player of the year in the country last season and gave you some indication why with that move there.
It's like they're looking at Day's knee a little bit. It's not an ankle problem.
First personal foul on David Butler.
Dish.
Credit.
Good dish.
And Oliver Miller really is a good passer from out high.
Excellent passer. That time Larry Johnson got caught right on Credit's hip. Poor defensive positioning. And he's got now Miller on his hip, so they don't get him the ball.
Anthony over to Hunt.
The three. Boy, great concentration that time by Anderson Hunt. Even though he had Lindsey Howell running right at his face, he still kept his eye on that target.
UNLV goes back up by one on that 14th point by Hunt. Pat O'Brien, of course, is on top of the action. Let's get a report from Pat O'Brien on Todd Day.
All right, JB, thank you. Todd Day bruised his right knee. It's very painful right now. They hope to get him back in the game soon. Not soon enough. Back to you.
All right, Pat. A 51-50 lead by the running Rebels. Just underway here in the second half. 18:08.
Great play by Larry Johnson. Really stepped out on Miller.
Timeout, Arkansas.
Score in this time frame.
They don't want to foul here. 10 seconds left. Down by 2. The drive.
Can anybody get open for it? Shot there.
She fires one up. Anthony Atkinson has tied it up.
He'll roll right. Left it go. And it goes in.
Good rebound. Gillespie at the buzzer. 4 seconds left. Melvin stole away.
Finds this guy. Touchdown. Scores in the final seconds.
BYU wins it. He's got time. Atkinson, layup.
There is a place where the search for cancer's cure happens to the sounds of John Coltrane. There is a place where a Nobel laureate teaches how to write from your heart, while some of the nation's leading scientists teach how to think with your head. Great art takes a measure of science. Great science takes a measure of art. A great university is built where they converge. UNLV.
Fury.
Rod picks up that dribble beautifully when he goes in there.
6 points for Ron Hury, who's averaging just under 10 a game. Had been a starter 2 years ago. Nolan Richardson looking for some explosiveness from Hury off the bench.
Good hands by Lindsey Howell. Fury could be the man of the hour right now. They need a big score with Day out. He's got Stacey Augmon on him, so he's really got to be careful. Makes Stacey twice, gets it blocked.
Stacey has the advantage of those long arms.
Be a good idea to set a solid screen on Stacey Augmon to free Ron Hury up a little bit.
Anthony left open for the 3. Rebounded by Lindsey Howell. Howell with 6 rebounds.
At his size, he's just a great guy to watch rebound line.
As Credit goes in for the shot, he's fouled from behind by David Butler. Near the conclusion of today's game, we will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the general scholarship fund of each school. And the foul was actually whistled against Larry Johnson, his 4th personal foul.
And he's got to come out. Jerry Tarkanian very upset there because everybody had their head turned coming back on defense, allowed Credit to be wide open on the inside.
So Moses Scurry comes in to replace Larry Johnson. Now in the first half, when Larry Johnson went out, UNLV did not do badly at all. As a matter of fact, outscoring UNLV.
An opportunity now for the first time in the game, however, for Arkansas to have some advantage down in low.
1 point Arkansas lead, 6 points for Mario Credit. Credit averaging 15 points a game. And the Razorbacks certainly need some scoring for him as the ball goes back to the running Rebels.
Come on, Momo. Mario Credit on Butler down on inside. Wouldn't be a bad idea to try to go ahead and get that ball inside to David Butler. Get Credit out of there. Butler's sealing him pretty well. Not getting the ball. They're not looking inside at all today to get the ball down the low post.
And Butler's there.
Yeah, he sure is.
And that foul came, well, they wanted to get the ball to Butler to get the foul on Credit, but Anthony penetrates and picks up the reach-in foul. 4 personal fouls on Credit.
See, Butler's doing an excellent job on the inside. He sealed his man extremely well. Nobody's firing it down in there to him at all. Looks like Day going to try to come back in, James.
We'll see how well he can move with that tender right knee as he replaces Mario Credit, who goes out with 4 personal fouls.
Yeah, not by design at all, just a reach-in foul.
Anthony with 10 points. You mentioned that Anthony worked on Capitol Hill last summer, working for Nevada Representative Barbara Vukonovich. And he really thinks he's got a future in politics. 7th lead change of the game. Rebels on top by 1.
See how well Day can move.
Fury, 3-point attempt is good.
He's coming to the front.
That's exactly what Richardson wants from him. Hunt.
Now there's where Day's legs didn't allow him to be quick enough to get back there on that one.
But his long arms enable him to block that shot attempt.
Anderson Hunt does a nice job going down, getting in the area right out beyond the 3-point line. And they really look for him well out there to take that jumper. Remember the great shot that he made to beat Arizona last year's NCAA tournament.
Augmon. And Billy, Stacey Augmon continues to come down as he's shooting that jumper. Most coaches teach shooting that jumper at the peak of your jump, and that's why he's missing it. Personal foul on Lee Mayberry, his first personal foul. Lee Mayberry with that foul only has 9 fouls in 9 games, so not only does he not turn the ball over very much, doesn't commit very many fouls.
And you got to figure he's normally playing the man who's handling the ball the majority of the time for his opponent, so that's a great stat. You can win with those kind of stats.
Greg Anthony. And Greg Anthony looked to have charged into Oliver Miller, but Miller is whistled for the blocking foul.
One of the big points of emphasis in college basketball this year, that principle of verticality. And in my estimation, Miller had and owned that ground and that real estate there, but the call is going against him.
As you take a look at Nolan Richardson, he's got his hands in the air trying to plead his case to the official, saying, hey, my guy had his hands straight up.
I think he's right. But what he finds now is his 2 big men pick up 4 fouls each. So you've got Johnson on the bench for UNLV with 4, and both Credit and Miller picking up 4. I guess Nolan's going to stick with Miller for a while.
Anthony, normally a 71% free throw shooter, misses the first.
I think at this time in the game, it'd be smart maybe to come back with marks. Take Miller out because he's got the lead.
Anthony 3 of 6 from the free throw line. It's a 1-point Arkansas lead with 15:30 remaining in the game. Out. Rebound taken away by Day, and he misses. Scurry comes back with the familiar scowl.
He's a battler. But Day showed again that 6'7" height. He's able to get his hands on a lot of balls.
Anthony. 14 points for Greg Anthony, 5 over his season average. Mayberry.
Tough shot.
Specializes in it.
When he puts that ball behind his back, he usually goes to take his own shot.
11 for Mayberry.
Really elevates off the floor in a hurry.
Scurry can't find the roll, but gets the rebound, and another one. As Butler plays volleyball inside, blocked from behind by Oliver Miller.
Led the Southwest Conference in blocks last year. That was a great one because he's got 4 fouls on him.
Had 60 on the year last season, as a foul is whistled out of the wing spot against UNLV.
You see this coming right up. Moses Scurry, who makes a habit of missing those on the inside, but usually comes back in and scores on the next one. Here it goes up, and you're going to see Miller coming up now with what was a great block on Butler.
Anthony on the inbound steal. This is Hunt.
Two great backcourts out here today. Hunt and Anderson and Day and Mayberry.
16 for Anderson. Hunt, who was whistled for that last personal foul, his third.
Greg Anthony behind the back. Putting it on.
Blocking foul on Lindsey Howell. That'll be his third personal foul. So Nolan Richardson seeing his front line getting all kinds of foul trouble.
Very difficult pass because you've got weak side help, and there is Greg Anthony putting it behind his back, going right around Mayberry. And Greg looking to take it to the basket. What do you say, 4 or 5 times today? He's taken the ball almost the length of the court, right onto the hoop.
No doubt.
Now Credit coming back in the ball game, and what we have here now is Nolan Richardson going to try to use those fouls. Take Credit as long as he can go till he picks up his 5th, and then rest Miller, and then come back the other way.
Arlen Bowers comes in for the Razorbacks. Lineup for Arkansas: Bowers, Todd Day, Ron Hury, Mario Credit, and Lee Mayberry. This is Greg Anthony at the free throw line. 15. Greg Anthony is really an off guard, mentally trying to make the adjustments to the point guard spot.
Well, you know, on this club, because he and Anderson Hunt are almost interchangeable offensively, they don't really need a true point.
A 3-point Rebels lead. And Mayberry lucky as Credit comes up with the rebound.
Butler and Scurry colliding in there. Credit using that left hand nicely. As again, you see when Mayberry puts the ball behind his back, he normally goes for the shot.
Personal foul on Lee Mayberry, his second personal foul. And the backcourt of the running Rebels really doing a job.
Yeah, that's primarily Greg Anthony on the drives and Anderson Hunt with the jumper. This game is getting rough now. Tark with 13-13 to go comes back with Larry Johnson, and he's gonna play games the same way that Nolan Richardson is, with Johnson and Butler alternating. See how long Larry Johnson can stay in this game. Really been burdened with foul trouble.
Anthony and Hunt, the backcourt for the running Rebels. Stacey Augmon, Moses Scurry, and Larry Johnson, the 5 on the floor for the running Rebels.
This is what UNLV did not have before Butler and Scurry came back, and that's any bench, any opportunity for Jerry Tarkanian to make some moves when they got in trouble.
And a couple of teams caught them that way.
Exactly. Losses to Kansas, Oklahoma as well. Not to say they would have won those games, but it sure helps to have that bench.
Arlen Bowers with the lean-in shot, a 2-pointer, and a tie ball game at 63 all. Anderson Hunt, 3-point shot.
That's why you can't double up on Anthony. Hunt knows how to go find that 3-point range.
19 points on the afternoon, 5 over his average. Bowers today for 3.
Same deal.
Great teams.
Oh, they are. You know, there'll be a loser in this game, but not in terms of what we think of them as teams and their ability to, before this year's out, to be champions.
Good defense by Day. Rebound, Arkansas, up to Hury. Arkansas retakes the lead, 68-66, 11 for Hury.
You know, Uri's a guy he can have a 30-point ball game coming off that bench.
Had a lot of off-the-court problems last year, got himself straight and playing well as Larry Johnson powers his way on the inside off the glass for 10 points.
Beautiful feed by Hunt. Sitting right down, getting that bounce pass inside.
Arkansas really has done the job on Larry Johnson, who has only 10. He averages 22 a game as Day misses, and it's rebounded and taken away by Moses Scurry.
Scurry went right over Hury.
No foul called as Johnson goes up and is fouled by Todd Day. Third personal on Day.
And Stacey Augmon showed he's got some courage. He went in on that shot that did not go and really hit the floor hard. Watch this. This is a drive. Look at him concentrate and goes right on down. No foul, and there's Johnson using all of that bulk to go up. And there was a case where it was not an offensive foul because Day had his hands right over the top of Johnson's back.
Take a look at Augmon showing the effects of working hard out there on the floor. Larry Johnson, 11 points, 9 rebounds, averaging 22 points and 11 rebounds.
Johnson picked as the #1 basketball man in the USA by ABA USA last year.
The man who would later be known as Grandmama, Larry Johnson, has scored 4 straight to give the Run Rebels a 2-point lead. As it turned out, UNLV was lucky to have Johnson in more ways than one. As a high school senior in 1987, Johnson originally signed with Southern Methodist. However, the year before, he had failed to score 700 on his SAT, the requirement for freshman eligibility under Proposition 48. When Johnson retook the exam, there was such a dramatic improvement in his score that the Educational Testing Service challenged the validity of the exam. Johnson refused to take a polygraph or take the exam a 3rd time, and the testing service canceled his 2nd test score. Johnson was admitted to SMU on the basis of his 1st test score only and would be forced to sit out his freshman year had he chosen to attend. Given the situation, Johnson instead went to Odessa Junior College and transferred to UNLV after his sophomore year. Johnson will be tested again in this second half. Stay tuned to see how he scores. You're watching CSTV's Retrovision.
Of fencing and 3 years of law school teach you a lot. For him, it's confidence. For me, it's pride. Go to ncaa.student.org to find out how your child could become one of the many student athletes who go pro in something other than sports.
Working to get better, elevating their games, soaring above the competition. The Mountain West Conference celebrates those student athletes who reach their peak in athletics, academics, and in life. Whether you're an athlete, a student, or one of the best fans in the country, you can reach your peak in the Mountain West Conference.
Here's the John Cheney imitation by Nolan Richardson. He's tried to use the old stare down to the officials as we broke for that last timeout, but he couldn't get their attention.
That stare in the NCAA tournament last year by Cheney lasted about how long?
Well, I don't know. He did one down at the University of North Carolina. It was very effective, but didn't work too well in the tournament. Tough man-to-man coming up here by UNLV. Try to go over Johnson. It's not there.
10 turnovers by the Razorbacks. And Stacey Augmon commits turnover number 11 for UNLV.
There he goes. That's the son of a coach. Jerry's son obviously played well for him, and Stacey's dad's a coach, coached him in high school. Didn't want to see that kind of pass.
At Santa Clara High School, Stacey Augmon. Todd Day out high. Mario Credit calling for the ball, but Mayberry takes it to the glass. Rebounded by David Butler. Number 9 for David.
Both teams playing hard-nosed man-to-man now. Bauer's really quick on the outside.
Butler calling for the ball. Double team, triple team down low. Steele gets the shot away. So David Butler, despite his slender size, really powers strongly on the inside. He's got 13.
Not there.
Day for 3. So Todd Day with 22 points draws Arkansas within 1.
James, what a value it is to be able to have those three-point shooters that can go out and sit on that perimeter. You take the ball on the inside, then fire it back outside. Very difficult to defend.
And talking with Todd Day yesterday, I asked him if he was upset with all the publicity that Lee Mayberry was getting. He says, hey, mine will come just doing it on the floor.
Well, he's right. Had a great Olympic festival last year, and you'd have to project him as one of the real premier players in the country as just a sophomore.
Augmon being guarded by Arlen Bowers.
Same move, penetration, look to hit outside for the three-point shooter. There it is.
Hunt for 3.
Now what that does, you have to play like an accordion on defense. There's no way you can help out inside if you're going to get burned on that 3.
22 points for Anderson Hunt, who allegedly was having difficulty with the follow-through on his jump shots because of the chip bone in his shooting hand. Bowers misses.
Bowers has some real quickness and leaping ability as well.
Kick ball goes back to UNLV.
See, now the ball goes inside. Everybody turns their head. A great move by Anderson Hunt to offset. Instead of standing exactly where he was, he offset a little bit. That opened up a passing lane so that he could get the three-pointer off.
Lindsey Howell back into the game for the Razorbacks. He's defending Stacey Augmon.
Time for Larry Johnson, getting the ball down in low.
And Johnson's got the size mismatch with Ron Fury trying to defend the Butler off the mark.
I don't think UNLV's looking for him enough today. You know, he gets his man pinned down there, and then they're not looking to pass it inside.
Which maybe is one of the reasons why Jerry Tarkanian wanted him to come to the ball more, as Mario Credit does just that and scores his 10th point of the game. A 2-point contest. Rebels on top, 75-73 with 8:51 remaining in the game.
Got to get the ball down inside to Larry Johnson. There it is, but too tough a pass.
Bad pass, too low.
Yep, he's got great hands.
12 turnovers for UNLV. The big men have got to get that ball waist high or above.
Well, you can see this great run that UNLV's made. Primarily, it's come with Hunt and Anthony rather. They had 17 to 26 points during the run. Nothing's happening inside.
Greg Anthony has really answered the call today. 16 points from the backcourt. He's averaging 9.6 on the season. Mayberry for 3. Rebounded by Hunt.
Stacey Augmon breaking free.
And Augmon wisely taking the ball to the hoop as opposed to relying on the jump shot.
He broke free coming out from the defensive end of the court.
And David Butler whistled for the foul that time.
Wanting intentional did Nolan Richardson. He doesn't get the call.
Second personal foul on Dave Butler.
And from a standpoint of team fouls, only the 4th for UNLV, which could become a real factor as this game comes down the wire. They've been playing hard-nosed defense and not picking up any fouls.
Mayberry to the hoop.
You don't see many people beat Anthony that easily.
Anderson Hunt from three-point land again. 5 3-point shots for Anderson Hunt. He's got 25.
This has been the week for him. The University of Kentucky made 21 against North Carolina.
And Lindsey Howell is going to be whistled for the foul coming over the back. That's his fourth. And UNLV into one-on-one bonus situation.
Not a great free throw shooting team, so this may in effect help Arkansas a little bit.
And before Butler gets a chance to shoot the free throws, we'll take a timeout of the action. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this message from your local station.
We love college hockey. Hockey. On CSTV. Television. Something romantic. Yeah. About the camaraderie. All the different arenas. The rinks. And guys with their sticks. I got a stick. With a man in uniform and dark emery. Oh, I want some high sticking, hat tricking, puck flicking, body checking, board wrecking, college hockey on CSTV.
Watch Northern Michigan at Ferris State. Tonight at 8, only on CSTV.
Why do you go to Fanstore.com?
Because Dad needs a new Gator Golf Club cover.
We want bigger umbrellas for those Miami Hurricanes.
My son's getting his very first Yankees hat.
My wife would go wild for a Kentucky watch.
Get your butt in gear. Go to Fanstore.com now and get free shipping on all orders over $75. Just enter the code MyCSTV, all lowercase, to receive this exclusive offer. Fanstore.com, the first place to shop for every team you love.
There are 380,000 NCAA student athletes. And most of us will go pro in something other than sports. In something other than sports. Go to ncaastudent.org to find out how.
Well, the backcourt of UNLV paying big dividends. All by 25 points from Anderson Hunt. David Butler playing in his third game back after being academically ineligible the first half, shoots an air ball.
As I said, it may be in Arkansas's advantage to put UNLV on that foul line for a while to try to get back in this one.
Although UNLV has been shooting 72% from the free throw line in today's contest, 18 of 26.
Go to Mario credit here, try to get Johnson out of the ball game. It's worth the try because he's going to be a factor the rest of the way. Credit was able to beat him the last time down the floor.
Would you do that even given the kind of game Anderson Hunt's been having?
Yeah, I'd try to go ahead and get Johnson out of this one.
Augmon.
Oh, what a drive! Sensational drive to the basket. Now, Stacey doesn't have a big frame, but he is a fierce player on the inside.
Now, blocked by Butler, wickedly.
Watch Augmon cradle this ball, take it inside and under. UNLV does a lot of practice where they go ahead and bang a man driving one-on-one in practice to get used to that type of play, and it sure paid off on that one.
Oliver Miller back in the game replacing Ron Hury. 82-75, Rebels' biggest lead of the game. Mayberry.
Somebody's picking up 5 there.
And it looks like it's going to be Larry Johnson.
Well, I didn't see it on that play. He was right there going for the ball.
And if so, he's fouled out, Billy.
It's amazing how fellas are getting foul trouble on a play that is not what's intended. I didn't really think he fouled on that play at all.
So Larry Johnson, the man of whom Jerry Tarkanian remarked is perhaps the best recruit he's ever had, fouls out with 12 points and 9 rebounds. And he'll be replaced by Moses Scurry.
A lot of time left in this one. And now Arkansas gets an advantage because they have Miller and Credit on the floor now. So they're back to their big inside game.
Howell having difficulty getting it in bounds. And the officials say that the ball goes off the hands of Oliver Miller, who's got a set of excellent hands.
One of the things I'm sure the fans are aware with as many games been played on TV so far is there's a change in the out-of-bounds situation. When that ball leaves your hand, it doesn't have to touch somebody in bounds in the 5-second count. That's why the ref didn't blow the whistle till it went out of bounds.
Turnover number 11 for Arkansas, 6 this half.
And they're back into the zone. They really have to be aware of Anderson Hunt playing this defense. Good hands by Miller.
Stolen by Miller.
One of those all-state guys, isn't he?
Big asset for a big man.
Sure is. How? Good defense by Stacey.
And the officials say the ball hit the basket support behind the backboard. So it turns over to UNLV.
Now, what you have is the other official realized that Stacey got a piece of that on the block. So if it hit the stanchion, it would have been off Stacey Augmon. Yep.
And that's a good call.
Nice piece of officiating.
The 19,000 here don't like it, but an excellent adjustment.
Stacey got a piece of that on the way up. Great defense on his part.
Arkansas having difficulty finding the basket, having missed their last 6 field goals.
Hey, Howell ought to play a possum a little bit. He's got Augmon on him. He'd be setting some screens instead of trying to score so much.
Turnover. Here's Curry.
Bad play.
Mayberry comes right back to silence the crowd. A 7-point Rebel lead.
Arkansas got by with a pass that really didn't need to be made there. They need to come back gradually.
So Mayberry is right at his season average with 15 points.
They stay in the zone.
Under 6 minutes remaining in the game. UNLV on top, 84-77. The lob attempt is no good. And Howell battling strong.
Credit missed. Day still misses. He moves over there, open on the side.
And Greg Anthony is going to be whistled for the foul, pushing Todd Day. Anthony thinks that Todd Day was acting a bit as he picks up his second personal foul, and Jerry Tarkanian
Greg
very upset.
Greg doesn't need to be arguing quite that much either, for the simple reason that a technical here would really hurt his club.
Jerry Tarkanian wants to talk things over, not liking what he's seen on the floor, although his team enjoys a 7-point lead.
So after trading baskets all half, UNLV has pulled ahead by 7. But with Larry Johnson fouled out and Day and Mayberry a constant threat, this game is far from over. We head down the home stretch when CSTV's Retrovision continues.
The men's basketball season is pumping. You don't want to miss a single beat. Is San Diego State on their way to another 20-win season? Or can Wyoming lasso an upset out of the Aztecs? Watch Wyoming versus San Diego State tonight at 11. NCAA basketball. Possession. CSTV.
There is a place where the search for cancer's cure happens to the sounds of John Coltrane. There is a place where a Nobel laureate teaches how to write from your heart, while some of the nation's leading scientists teach how to think with your head. Great art takes a measure of science. Great science takes a measure of art. A great university is built where they converge. UNLV.
With 5:37 remaining in the game, Arkansas trailing the Running Rebels by 7, 84-77. And Nolan Richardson having to go for Brooke has both of his big men in the game. Mario Credit, Oliver Miller, both with 4 personal fouls.
I think Lindsey Howell's handling that ball too much with Stacey Augmon on him. He'd be good to set some screens for Mayberry or maybe even for Day. There's Mayberry getting a shot. Don't want to challenge the nation's #1 defender. And here he comes on this end of the floor. Boy, great play by Stacey Augmon.
Stacey Augmon with his 15th point, wisely making the adjustment, Billy, not going for the jump shot, but taking it to the glass. Mayberry.
That time Anthony was ready. Good steal by Day.
Mayberry again.
It was only a 2, though. Oh, there's a case where Day got right in Anthony's face. No foul called. Tark upset about it, and the ball goes off Anthony's arm.
Excellent hustle by Todd Day. Good recognition. And Arkansas trailing by 5 with 4:53 remaining.
He's a lot tougher ball player physically this year than he was last year.
Day leads the Razorbacks in 9 different categories, including steals.
And also rebounding.
Mayberry,
and there he is.
Rebounded by Day, who is the team's leading offensive rebounder. Augmon back to the glass again.
MVP of the Big West, and he's showing it wide.
Lindsey Howell quiets the crowd with that shot from the corner, his 12th point of the afternoon. 5-point running Rebels lead.
Now here's where it's going to be tough to play zone, as UNLV pull that ball back outside for a while, and Anderson Hunt will set up on you. There he is. That's
3 points.
Tough defense to play right now at this time of the game.
28 points for Anderson Hunt.
Mayberry looking like for the first time, James, he's getting a little tired out there. Tremendous crowd reaction here.
Miller blocked by Scurry.
Arkansas is a little tired right now, and so is Stacey Augmon. He has really had to expend some energy. You can see the Arkansas players just don't have anything left. They're really down. This has been a grinding game.
Turnover, ball goes back to Arkansas. And Billy, that's interesting that you mentioned that Arkansas is tired when it was UNLV that had the extremely tough 2-hour practice yesterday.
They did. I'm surprised that Nolan is not calling a timeout right now. You see that Jerry Tarkanian, recognizing Stacey just can't go any longer, takes Augmon out. The problem here, though, is guys like Mayberry and Day are so tired, they might not be able to do anything offensively.
Barry Young into replace Augmon. Well, that's one thing that Nolan Richardson mentioned, whether or not the pressure defense would wear down on his excellent guards. Howell. Credit has it stolen. Anderson Hunt got a hand on it to knock it loose.
And that fatigue factor is making cowards out of everybody right now. Nolan Richardson's got to get the timeout, give his team a rest.
Butler with the rebound and his foul. And if it's on one of the big men for Arkansas, they're out. Mario Credit picks up his 5th personal foul. And Nolan Richardson turns to Ron Urey. And Cannon Whitby comes into the game as well.
But Mayberry stays out there. He's played the whole game, and James, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think he's come out at all. He's had the task defensively of playing against a great guard and then offensively handling the ball so much.
David Butler said he learned an awful lot sitting out the first 6 games, concentrating on his academics, and had a number of students on campus come up and offer him all kinds of academic help.
Arkansas with 1 timeout left, and UNLV with 3. That drops it back to 2, so this helps Arkansas a little bit.
College basketball is in high gear. Watch DePaul take on Notre Dame Tuesday at 8. NCAA Women's Basketball, Possession CSTV.
Our day starts very early. we never know exactly when we'll have a full house, so we have to be ready at all hours. We have regularly scheduled deployments that come through, but things rarely run on schedule, so we have a lot of surprises. We have birthdays, we have family reunions. We even had a wedding here once. But whatever they need, we'll do our very best to see they get it. If they need travel arrangements or use of a computer, if they need to change diapers or dry someone's tears, we can help. It's the very least we can do, considering what they do for us. If you want to make a difference in the life of someone serving our country, if you really want to make a difference, the USO is how it's done. Help us help them.
The USO depends on the generosity of the American people, people just like you. To find out how you can help, visit us at uso.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
Towering as large as an Arkansas mountain, his appearance was a contradiction of terms. With his thick horn-rimmed glasses. When the University of Arkansas gave him a chance to play, Brandon Burlsworth became an All-American. But what set Brandon apart were his heart and desire to help those who didn't have all the advantages he did. Tragically, he was killed in an automobile accident, but to keep his memory alive, his family established the Brandon Burlsworth Foundation, giving other young people a chance.
David Butler giving the running Rebs
Now they
a
have
10-point lead at 93-83 with 2:28 remaining.
Got to think three-point shot here, and they do with Day putting it. That was an NBA three right there. He's got unlimited range. Scurry couldn't believe he was out that far.
25 points for him, and that's why Cannon Whitby, a seldom used role player for Arkansas, is in the game as well to help with the three-point shooting.
Trying to press a little bit half court. You can see the respect that Arkansas has had for UNLV's ball handlers. The fact that they have not been full court pressing much today at all. Good block.
Hunt recovers. Mayberry steals.
Fury made two great behind the back steals. Misses a tough shot after all that work.
Under 2 minutes in the contest. Rebs on top.
Augmon showing some ball handling skills.
Anthony.
Well, when you're going to make that big defensive pressure out front, there's nothing left underneath if they break through.
18 for Anthony. As Miller hits it from the corner. He's got only 3 points, and Miller came into the game averaging 10 points. So Arkansas not getting the production out of Miller because of foul trouble and good defense by the Rebs.
At this point, they've got to go all three-point shots. They're too far down just to go with the twos.
Arkansas's defense.
Back court, not called.
And the ball is turned back over to UNLV. Scurry.
Block, beautiful. With two Sam Jack teammates combining for a fast break. You wouldn't expect that often. Count it.
Todd Day with 3 points. He's got 28. David Butler slam dunked his 17th point. So even without Larry Johnson, the Rebs looking strong, up by 6.
Mom and Dad, we need you. We need you to be involved in our school. Because when you are, we get better grades. And have a higher rate of graduation.
Hear what your kids are saying. Get more involved. Join your local PTA.
Think you know wrestling? Step onto the mat with CSTV.
Unbelievable! Now he's in good position.
NCAA wrestling on CSTV. This is real. Watch the NWCA Cliff Key National Duels presented by CSG Sports Coatings tomorrow at 8.
Full court pressure now by Arkansas. Foul, but not intentional. About all they can do right now is to foul and try to come back with three-point shots.
Third personal foul on Lee Mayberry as Nolan Richardson looks on. Really has to be pleased with the way his squad handled the pressure. He was concerned about how on the road they would handle the intimidation of the opening light show here in Vegas. for the Running Rebs, as well as playing on the road in front of a national audience in this kind of a crowd. And I think they've handled it well.
They really have. It's an extremely young basketball team, as we pointed out at the top of the show, but a team that is going to be a major factor in this college season. Southwest Conference with a number of clubs playing well. You know, Texas is going to be in the hunt. Houston's going to be there. They've had some trouble early on, but they've got a big front line.
Darryl Hawkins commits the foul. Billy, make no mistake about it, Larry Johnson was expected to be a big force for UNLV today, averaging 22.5 points, left the game with 5 fouls and only 12. But the backcourt of the Rebs, a major surprise, averaging only 24 points combined on the season. The backcourt has thrown in 46 points in the game thus far.
Well, we talked to Nolan yesterday at length, and he said, I'm going to have to make the backcourt show me they can score. And basically, they did. And I think anytime you've got a kind of team like Jerry Tarkanian has, you've got strength in all areas, and they proved it here today.
Indeed, Anderson Hunt comes out with a career-high 28 points, and Stacey Augmon really does a number as well. Mayberry.
He pulled up against Missouri and took that jumper, which surprised me.
Scurry. Good attempt blocked by Miller.
That's about the 5th block Miller has today. He had 16 coming into this game. That big man at 270 pounds has excellent timing.
Well, Miller with only 3 points on the afternoon certainly has tried to perform well in the other aspects of the game.
Well, he picked up early, he got an early foul trouble. You know, really credit Miller and Larry Johnson all been really hampered today in regard to their performance offensively because of foul trouble.
Oliver Miller's stamina wasn't too bad today. He, of course, was discovered to have had a thyroid problem over the summer. Put on close to 30 extra pounds, getting up close to 300 pounds. He's down to about 265 now. Mayberry, nice circus move. 21 points for Lee Mayberry.
Reminds you a little bit of Mo Cheeks the way he plays, doesn't he?
And that's a big compliment.
Yes, it is. He's just an outstanding young man.
Well, with 3 seconds remaining in the contest, the Rebs will win it. And while they certainly put on an outstanding display, take a look at the shorts display.
Well, you know, Michael Jordan started setting the stage in regard to the new fashion in pants in basketball. And J.R. Reed last year probably was the collegiate champ. But we've got some guys now that are almost wearing Bermuda shorts.
It's good that they are wearing these tights underneath the shorts.
Now, David Butler would have to qualify as a first-teamer. Anderson Hunt's got some now that are actually down below his knees. Greg's aren't. I wonder what what the cost of shorts are now. You know, it must have gone up. The old basketball tights are a lot different.
Well, that's why Butler always has a soft landing whenever he comes down with the rebound.
Excellent ball game. 2 fine teams.
And that'll do it as the Running Rebs come away with the 101-93 victory over 11th ranked Arkansas.
Well, it was tight for a while, but in the end, UNLV is just too tough. Anderson Hunt led the way with 28 points and 6 3-pointers. Greg Anthony, Stacey Augmon, and Larry Johnson displayed just how deep and talented a squad they were. The Running Rebels lost just 3 games over the next 3 months of the season and steamrolled their way into the championship game. In one of the great performances of all time, they defeated Duke 103-73, the most lopsided victory in championship game history. How do you top that? Well, they almost did the following season, this time going undefeated all the way to the Final Four before losing to the same Duke team they destroyed a year before. Despite the outcome, UNLV had convinced some that they were the most talented team ever assembled. For Arkansas, the loss was just a small bump in the road. Led by sharp-shooting guard tandem, the Razorbacks made it all the way to the Final Four, their first in 12 years. If not for a loss to Duke, it would have been a UNLV-Arkansas rematch in the finals. Todd Day became a superstar in his final 2 seasons, claiming first-team All-America honors as a junior and senior and breaking Sidney Moncrief's career Razorback scoring mark with 2,395 points. He was the 8th overall pick in the 1992 NBA draft by the Milwaukee Bucks, who also took his teammate Lee Mayberry later in the first round. Well, thanks for watching CSTV's Retrovision. I'm Greg Amsinger.
Nobody serves college sports fans better than CSTV, the 24-hour college sports network from CBS Sports. To get CSTV, log on to CSTV.
This is NCAA hockey on CSTV.
They are the nation's best, the top-ranked Wolverines of the University of Michigan. Tonight they host Notre Dame as the Irish look to shake down number 1.
mistake, folks. Bottom line, Golden State traded for him. You know, he's averaging about 3 points, 7 minutes a game. Physically not ready. And sometimes guys make mistakes coming in the league thinking they're going to be ready right away. Wrong. Brendan Wright, bench. Maybe in 2 years he'll be good enough for the league.
Glenn Big Baby Davis on LSU. He's not going to play. He's like Christian Laettner on the Dream Team that first year. But when he does play, he's exciting. The fans love him. He'll get a 20-point game, and then a month later he'll get a 16-point game, and then maybe he's due for like a 17 in a couple weeks. He comes off the bench. If someone's going to be hurt or hobbled a little bit, you're going to see him. People like him. I like him.
The breakout game, though, in the winter Detroit.
That was great.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely
fantastic.
Great. Time now for our fantasy guys take on sports. Guy Tour.
Good morning, ladies and gents. Well, it's that time. That's right. Time to swing into the fantasy baseball season. Now, these guys have already been talking about it for a couple of weeks, but it's time for me to step up to the plate and give you my tidbits of info that will help you not only have a wonderful draft, but help you bring home that fantasy championship hardware, baby. So just like in any other fantasy sport, you're going to need your reports to draft the right team. The first report you're going to need, of course, and, you know, this is elementary. Most of you already know this, is your scouting report, major league and minor league. Now, in each fantasy sport, there are some additional reports that you're going to need to help you gain an advantage over the other owners. See, like in the NFL, not only do you need your basic scouting report, but you're also going to need the police report. And also the strip club report. For those of you who missed it during the fantasy football season, you need to know the off-the-field activities that could cost your fantasy player their season. Now, for the NBA, the additional report you're going to need is the I am a gambling referee report. Bogus calls could ruin your players' numbers. Okay, let's take it to the diamond. The one thing you don't want to be is asleep at the wheel when you're drafting. So you're going to need a DUI report. See whose manager was asleep at the wheel during spring training. You don't want the manager of your major league players doing the lineup while he's downing some shots of tequila. Salute! Another report you're going to need, and I know you know where I'm going with this. Come on, let's all say it together. The Mitchell Report. Very good, boys and girls. But let me tell you why. Because of those 80 to 90 players that were named in that report, of those players who are still active, you might want to think once or twice about drafting them. And for that matter, what concerns me is, what about the players who've been getting B12 shots in the booty that weren't mentioned in that report? That, my friend, is when you're going to have to probe a little deeper. You need to go out and get the Who in Major League Baseball Has ADD report, or the Pharmacy report, or the Brian McNamee report. Because once the MLB bans some of those other drugs, players' numbers are going to fall like tears from a wide receiver's face standing up for his quarterback.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
I got 2 words. The bomb. Lip balm. You look crusty around the lips, T.O. Come on, man. Look like you've been eating Frosted Flakes with glue on your lips. Let me see that again.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
Somebody get him and Tito some tissue. Anyway, you're also probably going to need to dig up some old stat sheets and reports from 3 or 4 years ago on players whose numbers were decent before the baseball players started drinking the Kool-Aid. Now, how can you tell if a player's been sipping on the scissor? Look and see how fast their body grew. If they went from looking like Chris Rock to looking like Michael Clark Duncan or Andy Dick to Hulk Hogan in just 1 season, check his pee, man. That's when you need to get the phone list of every Major League Baseball equipment manager. That's right. See who jersey sizes went from a 2X to a 4X or a 3X to a 5 or 6X, just like that. I'm going to need you to pee in this cup, player. And Major League Baseball is talking about
random year-round testing.
They should have the fans do it. How more random can you get than that? You see a ball player just hanging out in a nightclub, just go, hey, Tejada. Hey, man, you know what time it is. Go ahead and do it, man. That's right. I'll look away. And check that sample. You can tell if they got too many vitamins in their system, because if their sample is supposed to look like this, but it looks like this, and you need sunglasses to look at it, he's suspect. But a smoother way to do it, if you want to see if they got too much testosterone in their system, then carry around a couple of straws of hay or wheat or wherever horses eat. And you see a ball player just, throw it on the floor. And if he just goes, ee, and just dives on the floor and start eating it, check his urine. So there you have it. a couple of tidbits and nuggets so you won't end up with a bad roster. And the only thing you can say is, son of a Mitch, Joe Report. Until next time, I'm Guy Torrey. Game over?
Now that dude's funny. All right, still ahead, our last word. Each of us gets one, and one of them is actually something good about Barry Bonds. Yeah, you're going to want to hear it.
And if I said I don't remember the very moment when the rose stood still, and all the truth I have would spill.
At Match.com, we create so many love stories, we guarantee you'll start one in 6 months, or we'll give you 6 months free. Visit Match.com today.
Thank you, Justice Man. You've done it again.
Righteous boy, I can't believe you would have a pizza delivered to the hidden crime lab.
Relax. Don't get your units all hyped up in the bunch. It's not delivery.
For fresh baked taste at home, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
And when am I going to get to ride the motorcycle?
Most people go through life following Plan A. It's predictable, it's expected, it's routine. But what if you're not a Plan A kind of person? Welcome to Plan B from Brother. Our new color laser printers and all-in-ones are for those who make the better choice, not the obvious one. With more performance, more speed, more affordability. So make the smarter decision. We call it Plan B. Brother, at your side.
Winter X Games 12 on ESPN. Thursday, on the opening night of Winter X, the snowmobilers take the spotlight in the brand new Speed and Style event. Monster Flip! Then, defending gold medalist Tanner Hall looks to three-peat as he takes on the young guns of skiing superpipe. And he nails it! It's all good! Winter X Games 12 starts Thursday at 9 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Don't forget, Super Bowl Sunday is our Fantasy Insider Awards show. Awards such as your Fantasy MVP. How about Guy Torrey with his Ryan Leaf Award, the all way too high taken guy. Also, the Injury Awards with Stefania Bell, going to no doubt contribute to the show, as she always does. Time now for our last word. Howie, go.
Well, 2 words. First of all, Guy, I did pass. Thank you very much. Second of all, more importantly, Johan Santana, he's going to be traded before the start of the season. I honestly believe either the Yankees or Red Sox will pull the trigger, and this will happen. I honestly feel that will be the case.
I think you need to drink something other than water. Just have a Coke or something.
All right, I got to go on a limb here. Barry Bonds going to have 20 home runs next year, at least. I think he's too good not to be on a team. Yeah, I mean, all this controversy and everything surrounding him, the indictment, whatever you want to say, he can still hit 20 home runs. He can still be a DH somewhere. Barry Bonds still has enough talent to help Tampa Bay, Oakland, one of these teams in the American League that might have just a little wedge opening.
Maybe wearing stripes.
That's true.
20 home runs for the penal.
Not pinstripes, exactly. My last word, did I get burned last week? Because I had to get Howie with the Eli Manning jersey on, and I said he'd throw no touchdowns and 3 picks against Dallas. My bad. This time, Eli at Lambeau Field, he's going to be wearing a glove, not on his throwing hand, but on his left hand. 1 glove, no touchdowns. Packers go to the Super Bowl. If I'm wrong again, just bring me the jersey and I'll wear it the next time I do any show on this network or any other network. Ready?
Let's see what happens.
All
Go
right,
G-Man.
let's see what happens. Glad you took care of your sample there. Howie, Nando, Dari. It's been Fantasy Insider. It's been fun. Wouldn't you say? Welcome. You had a good time?
It has been a great time.
All right.
We miss you, Matthew. Well, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
Sunday, January 20th, 2008.
Swing and a miss. Mayshore is retired.
I would never have made it out of A-ball without steroids.
Amid the chorus of steroid denials, he says the drugs rendered his career a fraud, and his transformation was an open secret.
I'm sure people recognized there's something going on with this guy. I mean, he came in a beanpole, and he is a horse now, throwing 100 miles an hour.
Also today,
this is the coldest National Football League championship game ever played.
leather of the ball seemed harder and slicker, and the ball even seemed a little bigger for some reason. It was like catching an ice cube.
As today's Packers host a frigid NFC title game, 40 years ago, Lambeau saw the most infamous game ever.
The referee had a silver whistle and he blew it, and when he went to pull it away, it had frozen to his lip and it just pulled the skin off it.
Today outside the lines, the Ice Bowl and a fervent steroid apology.
And now, reporting for Outside the Lines, Bob Lee.
I had this morning that rarity, not just a steroid admission, a Major League steroid apology. But we begin on the field that Vince Lombardi would never allow NFL films to call the frozen tundra. Only on the Cowboys highlight film do you hear John Facenda utter that epic phrase. Today, Green Bay is poised to host another championship game with single-digit temperatures or worse. 40 years after that most famous frigid game, former Cowboy Jethro Pugh, the man who was blocked on the winning touchdown by Jerry Kramer and Ken Bowman, he still feels the effects of frostbite from that day, when truly America watched a game frozen in time. New Year's Eve 1967, the NFL championship game in Green Bay ascended to legend as the thermometer descended dramatically.
We did not have a forecast of sub-zero weather. It's supposed to be, I don't know, low teens or 20s, which is cold enough.
And the guy said, oh, there's a cold front blew in last night. I said, what do you mean a cold front?
17 below zero. It had dropped 32 degrees overnight.
I got to thinking, well, they'll probably cancel this game. There's no way you can play in 20 below zero.
But they did, on a day that tested the focus of each man in uniform.
Pain and cold and difficulties like that can either be the most important thing in your mind or they can be put aside. We had other things to do that day, and I was focused on the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't have time to get cold today.
This is the coldest National Football League championship game ever played.
One of the referees had a whistle in the beginning of the game. I think it was Norm Schachter.
He had his whistle, you know, the silver whistle, and he blew it, and when he went to pull it away, it had frozen to his lip, and it just pulled the skin off.
Blood came down and sort of just stopped. And therefore, we never had another whistle in that game. And it was unbelievable. We played the National Football League championship game without whistles because they couldn't blow them.
In these inhumane conditions, the Packers were trailing by 3 with 5 minutes to play, and Bart Starr began driving his team.
He flips the pass. It's complete to Chuck Mercine. He's at the 25, the 20, down to the 15, and out of bounds at about the 11-yard line.
Starr called the Packers' final timeout. He faced a 3rd and goal. There were 16 frigid seconds remaining.
I ran to the sidelines and I said, Coach, there's nothing wrong with the wedge play. The backs can't get their footing very well. But I said, I am upright. I can lunge my way in after just shuffling a little bit. All he said was, well, then run it. Let's get the hell out of here.
Starr begins the count. Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback thinking he's into the touchdown, and the Packers are out in front. And the Green Bay Packers are going to be NFL champions for the 3rd straight year.
The Ice Bowl is enduring legend, but the coldest ever playoff game came 14 years later as the Cincinnati Bengals hosted the San Diego Chargers in the AFC title game.
It was one of those things when you wake up and it's so cold your car doesn't turn over, and then you have to go outside and play a football game.
Sid Brooks, our equipment manager, did a very good job of coming up with all kinds of ways to try to keep our hands warm, special scuba gloves or something.
As it turned out, it didn't matter. Within minutes, the Bengals, aided by a Charger fumble, led 10-0, and nature took over from there.
It was rough because of the cold, but for a quarterback, it was tougher for me because of the wind. And if you don't throw a spiral in the wind, you're in trouble, and I didn't throw many spirals that day.
Fouts was picked twice, but Bengals quarterback Kenny Anderson threw for 2 touchdowns and incredibly no interceptions.
The way he threw the football was remarkable, not to mention the way the guys caught the football. It was almost like, you know, instead of 59 below, it was just a regular 59 degrees.
The winning coach that day, Forrest Gregg. He had blocked for Bart Starr in the Ice Bowl and knows full well the lore of the day he endured.
That's almost the first question if they don't know who I am. Is, did you play in that Ice Bowl? And yeah, and you know, if you were from Green Bay, they said, yeah, I was there. I said, my father took me. I was just a little boy, and I remember he took me to the game. And if everybody that's told me that they went to that game went, I know that we had to have at least 500,000 people in the stands that day.
So it will be cold today in New England and beyond cold in Green Bay and in the city of Buffalo, where this morning it is a robust 7 degrees with a wind chill of 13 below zero. The longtime equipment manager of the Buffalo Bills is going to join us now to talk about the battle against the elements. Dave Hanowski, good morning.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
I think I'm a tad warmer than you might be. I see you there sitting on the bench. I assume that's the heated bench. How warm does that keep players, and how does that thing work?
It actually keeps players really warm. It actually works with the propane heater, and the heater is attached to the bench, and the bench actually, you know, it throws the hot air through it and has slots for the feet and for the hands to keep the players warm, and everyone around the bench benefits from the heat from the bench, even not being on it. So it works quite well here in Buffalo.
Last I heard from Green Bay this morning, the wind chill early on at Lambeau was about 30 below zero. I'm a player. I come to you. I want to get outfitted for the cold. How can you help me?
Well, what we do is for the players, we have thermals, tops and bottoms. A lot of them won't wear anything more than that. They'll wear a pouch with the heat packs in it. And for the guys on the sidelines, we have jackets and capes. The jacket's pretty much for the quarterbacks and the guys that are inactive for the game, and the cape for the guys coming in and out of the game for substitutions.
What about all that exposed skin? I mean, you're there in sub-zero right now.
Yeah, for the exposed skin, we have this cold cream that we've been using for quite a while. It's got a lot of oils and lanolins and stuff that's good for your skin. It actually is a skin block, and it keeps the wind from getting into your skin, and it actually gives you a warm feeling actually having the cream on it.
All right, those are the players. Now the coaches are trying to work on the sidelines. How do you take care of them in weather like this?
Well, the coaches are, they get the benefit of a few more layers. So they'll have thermals, they'll have gloves, hats. Again, we have the cream for them. We have foot and hand warmers. We have wool socks. They have a turtleneck. They have slacks. They have wind pants. They have a fleece piece. And then they have a jacket. This year they came out with a pump jacket. You actually pump air into, or squeeze a little pump in the pocket, and it pumps air into the jacket, into a bladder, and your body heat actually heats that air that's in the jacket, and it helps keep them warm.
You had a game just last month in extreme conditions, I understand, against the Browns, and it turned out eventually being a blizzard, but when the day broke, it didn't look like much, and the players suddenly realized we need some protection.
Yeah, I probably had 3/4 of the team come back in after pregame warm-up and need something extra from at 10:15 during that morning. There was no wind and no weather to speak of, and at 12:15 when we came out for pregame warm-up, it was whiteout conditions, and so we needed to do some quick thinking and some redoing of shoes and thermals and everything else for the players to help them do their jobs on Sunday.
With all that warming apparatus on the sidelines, what can happen with civilians?
Oh, we've had some crazy things with support staff burning up their shoes. We actually had a doctor start on fire at one point, getting too close to the portable heater or whatever. So we had to stop, drop, and roll him on the sidelines to put the fire out. So we've had some encounters with the torpedo heaters as well.
All right, so those doctors have got to be careful. You look remarkably warm, David. Get inside, warm up. Thank you so much, Dave Hanowski of the Buffalo Bills.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Well, cold weather, it is old hat to Antonio Freeman, who for 8 seasons caught passes, including an all-timer on Monday Night Football, From Brett Favre in Green Bay, he also, of course, won a ring playing in 2 Super Bowls for the Green Bay Packers. Antonio Freeman, good to see you this morning. We've heard the rundown of things that are available for players. What did you use when it got down near zero? Besides the thermals, what did you use?
We use whatever we can get our hands on. We use the heat packs. We put them in our hands. We put them in our feet. We layered ourselves with long johns that we were able to play with throughout the week before the opposing team came in. So it was really an advantage for the Packers because we could play with our gear throughout the week and find the right layers that we could wear and still be productive, while the other team was just coming in on Saturday trying to figure that thing out, and they had about 18 hours to do it. So we always had an advantage as far as gear preparation.
How much practice would take place outside in these conditions?
Very little. You wanted to get production. You wanted to keep the practice moving along smoothly. You wanted to keep the guys in the move. You wanted to keep the guys in the flow of the practice. So we would do very little outside. We may do special teams outside just to get a feel of the cold, but practice would be done inside so we could be crisp, productive, fast, get in and out, and get to some extra film study. That's most important during the playoff time, is the extra film study.
Now, I understand even though the Packers were practicing in the bubble this week, they were using refrigerated footballs, so Favre and his receivers would get a feel for that. Was that going on when you were there?
Yeah, that was going on. Whenever we played in extreme cold conditions, we would freeze the footballs, or if we were expecting wet weather, we would make sure the football was wet. We would just try to reciprocate what's going to go on Sunday. And
well, what's it like to catch? Well, what does it do to the football? What does it do to you catching it?
Well, it gives us we have to play with the gloves. We sometimes in Green Bay we wear scuba gloves. Sometimes we wear the Nike gloves. We wear the Reebok gloves. So if we played with a wet football, we could really figure out which glove would be most responsive to our hands.
Now, for the last decade, they've had that heating system under what used to be, of course, the frozen tundra at Lambeau. What does that do, and how much does it help?
Well, it soothes the turf. It makes the turf a little softer. It's a mental edge, really. When you get on the sidelines where those heated blowers are, that's the real advantage. That's where you really gain an advantage. You stand in there, you put your cleats up against them, you put your hands against them, and you just try to stay warm. I don't think it's so much the heated field as much as it is the heated radiators on the sideline that you get to when you're not on the football field.
When you're man up against a cornerback from a warm weather city and it's freezing at Lambeau, ever hear anything interesting about, my gosh, how do you guys play in this stuff?
Oh, you hear it all game. When I was playing, I had a lot of guys that would come to Green Bay in '96, '97 when we had home field advantage, and we would always have a mental edge because they would say, I don't know how you guys play in this. So mentally, we would already be a step ahead of them, and it was just about winning the matchup as the line and catching the football and making the play afterwards.
You're in Vegas. You're warm today. Antonio Freeman, thanks a great deal, my friend. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, next, the major leaguer who says the Mitchell report just scratched the surface, at least with him.
I would never have made it out of A-ball without steroids. I know I wouldn't have had the stuff to compete at the low A or high A level, definitely not double A and definitely not triple A, and no way in the big leagues.
A first-hand account and a heartfelt apology from a former Major League Baseball player as we continue.
Have a great sports movie, you gotta have big action.
Knock it off! Yeah!
You gotta have heart.
Football is war, son.
And you gotta have hits.
Way to take a hit from a bus, dude. That's right.
Boom! The comeback. Suit up January 29th.
Red 88.
And now another priceless pep talk from Peyton Manning.
Bummed about football season coming to an end? Well, cheer up. There's plenty to look forward to. Like, well, there's always, you know what? I'm bummed too. Guess I'll see you next fall.
And this has been another priceless pep talk from Peyton Manning. Go to priceless.com for a personalized pep talk you can send to a friend.
What is the truth about major leaguers and steroids? Mikel Tejada is currently under investigation by the FBI over whether he indeed lied to Congress. Roger Clemens will be questioned by Congress, with a nation watching and listening. More than 80 current or former players are cited in the Mitchell report, and to date, only a half dozen, including Andy Pettitte, have acknowledged their drug use as alleged in the report. Current players may yet be disciplined. As Mark Feneruwata shows us, for one former player, the worst punishment is the truth he must live with.
On to dinosaurs?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Do you remember where they are? I think they're in the back.
There is nothing inside Dan Nolte's home that conjures memories of the 4 seasons he pitched in the major leagues, including one for the world champion Yankees. About the only baseball-related items are 2 generic etchings in a bathroom.
My life has been so radically transformed into an entirely different direction that my past is almost feels fake.
Swing and a miss.
In essence, Nolte's baseball career was fake. A month ago, the Mitchell report revealed his extensive use of steroids, amphetamines, and human growth hormone. It also revealed a man eager to tell his story.
I'm living proof that you can run faster, throw faster, and play Major League Baseball when you're not supposed to.
The 2-2. Got him.
Before Nolte began using performance-enhancing drugs, he was a wiry kid who couldn't gain weight. At Cal State Fullerton, he was a 6'6", 185-pound self-described broomstick with arms.
I was just encouraged to gain weight and get bigger and try to fill into my tall frame because that would be an advantage for me as an athlete. And I took it upon myself to inject this, that, and everything else.
How'd you go get him, and where did you go?
After I signed with the Twins, that same off-season, I walked into a gym in Orange County, kind of a bodybuilding gym rather than, your more fitness design gym, and went just to the biggest guy I could find and said, I need to gain weight, I need to gain a lot of it.
The bodybuilder told the 22-year-old Nolte to take a steady stream of steroids. The impact was dramatic and abrupt.
Over the course of just about 3 years, I gained 60 pounds, which was, for me, absolutely unbelievable, considering that probably the most I'd ever gained in a 3-month period was about 4 pounds prior to that.
His fastball went from the mid-80s to the mid-90s, shooting Nolte up the Twins' minor league ladder and into the big leagues by 1996.
How much do you think having used the drugs affected your ability to make that major league roster?
I would never have made it out of A-ball without steroids. I know I wouldn't have had the stuff to compete at the low A or high A level, definitely not double A and definitely not triple A, and no way in the big leagues.
Nolte pitched 3 seasons as a middle reliever for the Twins, all of them drug-induced by steroids and daily doses of amphetamines.
Who else knew you were using?
Nobody.
And the change in your body